Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday. I'm not sure what just happened. I choked on my own name. Anywho, before we get into the recap, I want to talk about this morning, y'all. If I ever get canceled for being a liar, just know that the allegations are true. I go to a coffee shop. Well, let's back up. I wake up at 4:30 a.m. and you're thinking, why? Me too. I have no idea. I typically wake up at 5:30, but 4:30 is different. I don't know. Carter toss and turns. And another thing that I'm not sure if all dog moms are like this, and I never call myself a dog mom, but when I started owning Maydog, it's like my motherly instincts turned on, and I used to be the heaviest sleeper. Let's start there. I used to sleep through anything and everything, light, sound, anything. The second I started owning Maydog is when that went away, and I hear the smallest of a noise, I'm up and oh, it's so frustrating. Well, that's the life I live now. I honestly, some nights get such bad sleep, especially when she sleeps in the bed. Number one, she's a physical touch baby. But number two, I hear her little snorts and I'm awake. Oh my goodness, which is such a bummer. I guess I'll just never know a deep sleep again. Well, that's not true. When we were in Hawaii, oh my gosh. Number one, because I was exhausted at the end of the day. But number two, it was quiet, being in a tropical place, having the temperature really low. The best sleep I'd had in a really long time. And Maydog wasn't there, obviously. Anywho, let's start there. Carter was tossing and turning, and then I was awake and I tried, because here's another thing about Maydog. She sleeps in the closet, which is it goes our bedroom, and then we have a door, and then it's the bathroom, and then the closet is at the far end. So she's in the far end. Well, when Maydog hears things, if we're tossing and turning, she'll come to the door and she'll cry. And her cry goes like this. Do you hear me? It's not a real cry, and it's not loud. But again, I would have never noticed that noise before I owned her in my life. But now that I have these motherly goddamn instincts, I hear it. And she just at the door. Well, anyways, therefore, if Carter tosses and turns and it wakes me up, I really try hard to stay in the position, because then if I move, May's on her feet and she's at the door. I don't know why that is. But I sat there for a really long time, and then I had to toss and turn. And the second that I did, I hear her little feet on the ground. And before she could even start crying, I just got up, I went pee, I grabbed her, and we went to the couch. And I was thinking maybe I'll fall asleep. I never did. May fell back asleep. Good for her. But I was up at 4:30. Therefore, I started a little coffee. I was on my phone. And then once 6 came, Carter's alarm went off. I then came in and woke him up, or said good morning. And I said, I'm going to go on a walk. I've been up now for an hour and a half. Thank you so much. Goodbye. I decided that I'm going to treat myself to a coffee. And I actually had already decided this yesterday, because I wanted to go on a long walk this morning. And there's nothing like having a little iced latte on a walk. I Google, and I'm so glad that I did, the coffee shops around me, because I always really try and do local coffee shops. Number one, to support. Number two, it's typically better coffee. Well, the one on our block opens at 6:30. It was 6 a.m. And I'm going to start my walk. I wasn't going to wait until 6:30. You know what I'm saying? The Rose Cafe that's on the trail opens at 8. I'm like, what the fuck? Anywho, I end up going to Starbucks because there's one nearby and it was open. Thank God. I walk in there, and you all know that when I get asked for my name, when I get a coffee or food, I always say Brenda. And it's really not that big of a deal. And it honestly is a habit at this point, but you would not believe, number one, my whole entire childhood, people would let's say a teacher was doing roll call, it's Brianna. And I would always know where I was in the lineup. Well, when I'm at a coffee shop and let's say it's really busy, I'll say Brenna, but they write it however they heard it, and then it gets passed along, and then all of a sudden somebody's like, Brianna, and I have to go up, and then sometimes it's not me, and then sometimes it is, and therefore I use Brenda. It's something everybody knows how to spell it, say it, and it never gets confused, and I now resonate with Brenda. Right. I also think that when I turn 40 years old, my name might just change to Brenda, because have you ever met a child named Brenda? No. only like 50-year-old woman. That's crazy. Maybe it will. I'm not really sure. But I walk into Starbucks and I order my iced latte and he's like, what's the name for the order? And he's super nice. And I know this man. Me and Carter used to go here quite a bit when we first moved into our neighborhood. And I'm like, Brenda. He's like, amazing. And then he tries to like talk to me, okay? And be personable, which is so sweet. But he kept saying Brenda. He was like, so what are you up to this morning, Brenda? And I'm like, oh, just going on a walk. And he's like, are you working today, Brenda? And he kept saying my name, which like in a normal instance is like nice and fun and personable, but that's not my name. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then my head went to, and no, I don't think I'm famous. I don't think that people recognize me all the time, but I will say with these Dallas TikToks kind of popping off, I have been getting recognized more. Like I always notice on the Katy Trail when like girls definitely, I can see them looking and like I've gotten used to that. But like I ran into a girl in the elevator. She's like, oh my gosh, I've been like seeing your videos about the rent. I was like, we're just going in right literally now to do our notice to vacate. And then we ran into somebody at the gym and she's like, oh my gosh, like it's just been happening more now that I'm in the Dallas sphere. Well, anyways, I'm in this coffee shop and the barista kind of looks at me and she looks at me again. And this guy keeps saying Brenda. And I'm just thinking like, she's a young girl. My demo is like girls from, 18 to 35. I'm like, there is a chance she knows who I am. But here he is saying Brenda, but that's not my name. I'm like, you know what I'm going to get canceled for? Lying. Somebody's going to come on the internet. This girl, I'm like, I don't know how I went from here to here, but I'm like, she's going to get on the internet and say, this bitch is a compulsive liar. She tells people her name is Brenda. But obviously nothing happened. She didn't say anything, but I was just like internally dying. There was like a guy staring at me as this like other guy is talking, Brenda. It was a little abnormal. Even if he was saying my name, like it was a lot, but he was just trying to be nice. Like he was so friendly. But when it's not your name, it was just like hitting a little bit different. But anyways, he was so kind. I grabbed my little coffee and I go on my walk. Speaking of May Dog, I posted the other day my sweet, sweet, sweet friend Garrett and his now fiance Alex. They got engaged, and all of you here know the May story. You all know that Garrett was my best friend. I used to watch May, and then he moved, and then I kind of acquired May Dog. Well, in the post that I made on my story, I said, May's old dad. Do you know how many people swiped up on that and said, is this your ex-boy? Like, why are you posting your ex-boyfriend? Do you think that I would post my ex-boyfriend on my story? Like, what? Like, I understand kind of where we went from here to there, kind of. But let's also then stop for 1 second and think, would this girl post her ex-boyfriend on her story and say May's old dad? No, that is Garrett. That is my very best friend. And he is now engaged. And I'm so stinking excited for them. They actually messaged us first. Sorry. I'm sure they reached out to all of their friends and family. Well, actually, Garrett got them all together at his grandparents' house. But they sent a text on Thursday night when Carter and I had gotten home from our little date night. Or maybe that was the next day. Now I'm not so sure. But he sent in our group chat a photo of them, or like one of the proposal photos, and said, first they asked like, how is May doing? Because we've had the whole May Chronicles. But then he said something like Alex Adair, like her name with his last name. Like, you guys now, because we hadn't been in a group chat with her. And he's like, I wanted to also add in Alex Adair. And I'm like, crazy. Oh my gosh. Love. They are precious. The thing is, I met Alex briefly. If you guys remember, we went to the House of Blues. Garrett is a musician. He's actually opening for Matt Kearney right now. If you guys know who Matt Kearney is, I'm sure you would know some of his songs. But when he played here in Dallas, me and Carter walked up and Garrett was outside with his whole entire family and Alex was there. And this was the first and last time I met her, but I gave her a hug and then they were all going backstage. I'm pretty sure I told you this. That's the only time I've met her. So I honestly haven't spent any time because they live in Nashville. But the thing about my friends and the people I'm close to is that Garrett is like the most wholesome, kind, sweet person ever. And his family, they're the ones I met Nanny Fam through. Like, they just have the best people in their life. And I'm like, if Garrett chose Alex, like, I know she's just the best little gem in the world. I'm so excited to get to know her more. And anywho, that was that. Okay, let's back it up. Last Friday, you guys, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Y'all had me take a pregnancy test. I have literally never in my life taken a pregnancy test. I took my first pregnancy test last Friday because after that episode went live, you all were like, I got so many messages that were like, bitch, I think you're pregnant. I'm like, ah! And then I was thinking about it and I hadn't gotten my period, I don't think in a while still. And then of course I just went there. I was like Googling symptoms, but it's like your breasts, you know, all of the things, nauseous. The only thing is that I hadn't had my period and I was so emotional, which is really strange for me. Like, I'm just not emotional. I had literally so many comments of girls being like, oh my gosh, Cassandra. Anywho, hey girly, she was like, not to scare you. Oh, because she said it, or she messaged me. It was like, I thought you were pregnant or something along those lines. And I was like, oh, but I have the IUD. And she's like, just FYI, my third child, I had an IUD and it moved. I'm like, oh my God, thanks a lot. Therefore, I had to go to Target to get an item for a collaboration I'm doing, which please show me love on all of my collaborations coming up. It means the world. Anywho, we won't go there. I had to go buy something, or I wanted to just have some on hand. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting it at Target. Let me get a pregnancy test. I'm like, this is crazy. But I had so many messages it made me think that maybe I was. Sorry. And then I went somewhere else. Oh, I think I went to Costco and then I got home. And of course I recorded it. I wasn't going to post it because I didn't want to be insensitive, because when it showed that I wasn't pregnant, not pregnant, FYI, I should have started there. I like jumped with joy. I was like, thank God, not thank God, but I was like, oh my gosh, I got so worked up. Like, I pee on this little stick, right? I got one of the digital ones because I was like, there's no way I'm doing one with the lines and then I'm going to convince myself I'm pregnant when it's not the case. I got a digital one, right? I pee on it and then I set up my phone and I flipped it over and then I flipped it to me and it was still loading. And I was like, oh my gosh. Then I started shaking because then I started thinking like, what if I'm actually pregnant? Like, I hadn't really thought about it, but I was like, oh my gosh, what if? Thank goodness. And again, not trying to be insensitive. I know some people would give to be pregnant, so on and so forth. I was not pregnant, but y'all, I literally took a pregnancy test because you guys convinced me that I was pregnant. Anywho, not funny. Then I'm at Costco, and the night before, I might have told you guys this on Friday, that I reached out to this realtor because all of these Dallas videos took off and I had so many realtors and like apartment locators reach out to me. And this girl, I won't say her name, which maybe I should say her name. That way, if you guys want to use her, she's incredible. I reached out to her because she looked kind and sweet and amazing. And she texted me on Friday morning while I was at Costco at like maybe 9:30. No, Costco doesn't open till 10, like 10. And she was like, hey, do you want to go tour some of these? Like, here are some of the apartments or the townhomes. Like, I think we should go see them. I'm like, yeah, like, when are you free? This week, next week? She's like, do you want to go today? I'm like, perf. And she was like, does 12 work? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm at Costco right now, but I'll run home. Therefore, she was like, amazing. Let me get all of these set up and I'll let you know when and where we'll meet. Well, she texts me back. She says 12:15. Let's go look at these townhomes. I'm like, perfection. I didn't even text Carter. I'm like, whatever. He's obviously at work. I can just tell him about it later. I go home, I get ready, and I meet her. And she's amazing. She's so cute. She's so sweet. She gets the vibes. She's set up 4 different tours and they're all kind of in the same location, but we met at the first one, we walk up, we do the whole thing, amazing. We go to the second one, we go to the third one, we go to the fourth one, and we're just chit chatting. We drove separately, obviously, so we would just drive, but they were all like 4 minutes from each other. And here's the thing, and here's the problem that I'm facing is like, I'm not picky. I could have lived at quite literally any of the townhomes that we looked at. Like, I'm not the issue. Carter is. He's high maintenance. He wants a big garage. He has more criteria. And she's like, what kind of things? I'm like, I don't know. He kind of will just have to see it, which I explained this before. The private rentals are 30 days. Therefore, the ones we looked at, they could potentially stay on the market until our move date, but we don't know for sure if they will or won't. But she printed off all of the information for me. I'm like, amazing. If they are, like, I'll have Carter come maybe when we get closer to the date and then we can go over them. Actually, y'all, she just texted me while I started this podcast and just said, okay, so this is so random. Do you want my 10:30 class at Session Pilates on Mockingbird? I signed up for 2 in the morning and didn't realize until just now. LOL. It's paid for. It's too late for me to cancel or I get charged $20. Like, she's so sweet. What the heck? I need to answer, but I'll get back to that. Anywho, she was great. You know what she also told me, which maybe I shouldn't be spilling tea. We started talking about weddings. She's married. And I was talking about Carter and I's elopement, so on and so forth. And we were talking about how weddings have just gotten so crazy. It's so funny because she was like, I shit on weddings and they're all the same. But she's like, my wedding was the best. And she showed me photos and it was gorgina. I won't share the details, obviously. But she was just saying that one of her husband's friends who spent $250,000 on his wedding got a divorce 2 years later. He just is now going through a divorce, but he only got married 2 years ago and they spent $250,000 on their wedding. I actually, like, I'm in this thing for the long haul with Carter, obviously forever and always. But if we spent $250,000 on a wedding, there's no way we would ever get a divorce. If we dropped $250,000, you have to stay together. Like, you can't get a divorce. That is actually crazy. But anywho, I'm really, really excited about the private rental space. It did give me hope that no matter what, there will be things available. And these townhomes in specific that we're looking at, there's so many of them in Dallas because obviously Dallas is just growing and thriving and they pop up these new townhomes all of the time. Therefore, I'm super excited about that. But anywho, over the weekend, y'all, we didn't do anything. We actually were looking at each other and we're like, what the frick are we doing with our lives? However, we gave Maydog her first injection. I told you I went into the vet and she showed me. And I asked Carter, because we have to do it twice a week. We're doing it on Saturdays and Tuesdays. We've already done it now twice. We did it on Tuesday night as well, but Saturday was the first day. And I'm like, okay, babe, how do you want to do this? Like, would you rather hold her or would you rather inject? And he's like, I would rather inject her. I'm like, oh my God, thank goodness, because that part I don't want to do. I would be willing to do it. I would get it done, no problem, but I didn't really want to, if I'm being honest. And he's like, no, I'd rather do that. I'm like, well, that's fucking crazy, but okay. Anywho, I'm like, how do you want to do this? He's like, I think we should bring her up on the kitchen island. That way she's up high. I don't want to crouch down like I'm going to be having a needle. Like, I need to be in a good position, because I was like, do you think that's going to be uncomfortable for her? And he's like, either way, like, we just need to safely inject her. Let's just bring her up. And I was like, okay, I'll grab a towel. I go and grab a bath towel and put it on the kitchen island. That way she has kind of traction a little bit. But we set her down and he's like, get a spoonful of peanut butter and just distract her. I'm like, okay, which the vet told me that, like, if you're doing 2 people, not that we have to do it this way, but she was saying the easiest way is if, like, the one who's holding has both their arms around her body, kind of like by her legs, that way she can't move, and then the other grabs the skin on the neck and just quickly injects. Well, Carter couldn't, because we were on the island, really do that, and therefore he's on my right and she's in front of us facing me. I'm holding the peanut butter spoon and then I'm just kind of like with my other hand holding her body, that way if she squirms. Well, anyways, he's about to do it. We have to, like, inject, you know, there's a couple needles, like, you use one first to get the liquid out of the medicine thing, and then you got to tap it so it's 0.5 milliliters, and then you take that one off and then you put the other one on that you're going to inject her with, but obviously making sure that it's not touching anything because you don't want to infect it. Well, I'm distracting May and I'm looking at her and he's about to do it. He grabs the skin and he does it, and she just slightly, like, her body moves, but honestly she kept licking the peanut butter. Like, she was so distracted by it. It was like in and out, amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, I think it makes her a little drowsy. Oh, and I googled what this is for anybody that was curious. This is called Adequan. Feline, not feline, canine Adequan. It is like a joint lubricant. Like, I think it's similar to arthritis, like pre-arthritis, just to keep liquids in the joints and keep her all lubed up. I don't really know, to be honest, but it's supposed to be good for her spine and all of that. Amazing. We did that for the first time. We obviously went on our walks. We went to Carter had a poker night on Saturday night. Him and actually some of his law school buddies, they used to do it. But then Carter also brought his friend from work and then his other best friend and kind of commingled everybody. But his friend came and picked him up. I had the car. I didn't go anywhere. He left at like 4 or 5 and went to this. Therefore, I went on a walk and then I got into bed and I finally finished A Court of Silver Flames. God bless. Y'all, that book took me forever. And my final thoughts on ACOTAR, it's good. And I see why people like it. And I don't regret reading it. But it did take me a long time and it wasn't my favorite thing of all time. I stand behind Fourth Wing. I've now said that 100 million times with all of these updates. I feel good that I finally read it and now I know the lore when people talk about it. But honestly, it just wasn't my absolute favorite. But I think that's just my own issue with like not really loving romance. Like that's just not my number one pick. However, I now started Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This is one of the books that LaDonna bought me while I was back home. 10 out of 10. I'm already halfway through it. I'm zipping through. I cannot put it down. I don't want to pick up my phone. That was the thing with ACOTAR. Like I kept, and I do have a phone addiction for sure. I think the nature of working on social media and constantly posting, like naturally that's going to happen. But I kept like picking up, like, and with the books that I love, Fourth Wing, I couldn't put it down. Like you could not pay me to put that book down. With every single ACOTAR book, like I could put it down at any second and I wasn't excited to pick it up. And like, again, it was a good solid book. Anybody who hasn't read it, if you like fantasy and you like romance, I think you would really love it. Like it is good. It just, again, wasn't my favorite. But Riley Sager, which is a pen name. Did you guys know his name is Todd Ritter? I don't understand why people use pen names. Although I do like Riley Sager better. I am curious. Is it just to like keep their identity hidden? They just don't want to be super public. I don't know. But me and LaDonna were on the phone yesterday and I was looking into him because she loves him as well. We're trying to read like every book. Anywho, I'm reading Lock Every Door. Therefore, Saturday night, Carter was at poker. He got home at like midnight, you guys. He was pissed. He made it to the last 2. And then he lost, but it was $100. So the guy that won $1,000 and Carter was like last against him. I'm like, oh, but he was not happy. He's like, yeah, some of the guys wanted to go out afterwards. And he's like, I couldn't. I was just like in such a sour mood, which I get. I'm super competitive. I'm not good at that kind of thing. I feel like I'm a lot better now that I'm older because like nothing is that serious, but I am to my core like a competitive person. But anywho, what else happened? We finally turned in our notice to vacate. It's official. It is set in stone. Our apartment is probably, oh my God, should I see if it's on the website? I want to see what they have it listed as. I didn't even think about that. Okay, let me pull up our, oh my gosh, wait, I wonder if it's up yet. We got an email from the app or like from a text message. It gets sent to both and was like, please respond in your app if you're going to renew. And then we said no. And then it was like, if you're saying no, then you need to have like a printed out form, a notice to vacate in by the 4th because our move out date is August 4th. I'm like, okay. I go down and our leasing office is open like every other day. It's open. It used to be Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Now it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'm like, that's so annoying. Just have somebody here every single day. Again, the problems with our apartment has just been, it's not that big of a deal, but like, it's just annoying. Wait, let me see. No, I don't want a studio. Let me go to our floor. Oh, it's not up yet. I will say though, the same exact floor, 903 square feet. It's this floor plan, I think maybe reversed. It's going for $2,729 and ours renewed for $2,650. Therefore, I on the Dallas TikToks have been talking to people because they'll up your rent and then you'll move. But then once you go on the website, they're listing it cheaper than what they offered you. They just wanted to try and get more money, obviously. Well, I don't think that's actually going to be the case because yeah, our same exact floor, that might actually have a view. Therefore, it's a little bit pricier because things that make apartments more expensive are like, number one, the higher your floor, the more expensive it's going to be. Number one, if you have a view of downtown versus if you don't, it's going to be more expensive for the view. Number three, obviously then square footage, like the bigger the unit, the more expensive. Like there are the obvious things. But this one, which is number, I'm not going to say that out loud, which is our same exact floor plan and square footage, 2729. That's crazy. Therefore, I think that actually 2650, that's probably what it's going to be listed at. Damn. That's crazy. Wait, speaking of my apartment, and I told you that like people in Dallas have been seeing my videos. I'm scrolling on one of my videos about the rent. Wait, did I already say this? No, I didn't. There is this man who he is either married or it's just his boyfriend. I don't know. It's two older gentlemen and they have two little white dogs and they have lived here the entire time we lived here. I remember talking to him in depth. He's the sweetest thing. I'll see him obviously when I take me out or I'm going on walks, whatever. And I remember talking to him when the eclipse was happening because we were all outside, obviously, watching the eclipse. And I think he had been here a really long time. Well, they're probably in their maybe 60s. Okay, sweet, precious older gentleman. I'm scrolling on one of my Dallas videos and here, I don't know his name or didn't know his name. I see a photo, a profile photo, and a guy saying, yeah, we turned in our notice too, and we're thinking about moving to Turtle Creek. It is the man with the two little white dogs. He commented on my TikTok. Something about just like an older person in general. And he's so sweet and I love them. But then like, I never really get insecure about posting online. Ever. Now with this Dallas stuff, like for example, somebody in Carter's office was saying that they saw my Dallas video and how dare I say that I don't like Javier's and so on. Like that makes me insecure. Like thinking about people that I know in real life seeing me because I'm like, did this older gentleman, when I clicked on his profile, he follows me. I'm like, did he just now find me or has he been knowing about my stuff or what is the situation? Or like, did he just come across me and now he's been looking at all my videos and I look like this crazy person? I don't know. Anywho, that happened. Another person who commented, I said in one video that I walked the Katy Trail. And I thought that I would explain the Katy Trail to you because if you're not from Dallas, you have no idea what that is. Basically, let me break down Dallas for you. There is downtown and then there is uptown. And if you don't live in a bigger city, because if I was still living in North Dakota, I wouldn't even know what that means. Like obviously downtown is like where all the high rises are. Well, uptown is just a little bit north. It also has high rises and such. This is probably like where more people live. Like the high rises are typically apartments. There are obviously also like working buildings and hotels, but it's just north of downtown. Well, uptown is where like everybody lives. And uptown also has its own individual neighborhood. So there's like Victory Park, there's Harwood District, there's West Village, there's like true uptown, there's Knox Henderson, which maybe you wouldn't consider that uptown, but there's like this area of like neighborhoods where most people live if you're like central Dallas and then you break off into like the east side of the interstate and like west of the tollway, but I won't go into that. Basically the Katy Trail. So it starts in Victory Park, which is like a neighborhood right next to downtown. The trail starts there and it's a 5K. So it's 3 miles. Is it a true 5K? I'm not sure. I think it's 3 point something miles. It goes from Victory Park. It goes, I guess, is that kind of Harwood District. Then it follows uptown. Then it makes it all the way up to Knox Henderson. So it's just this 3 to 4 mile trail. And there's one that's like cement, just like a normal, like it has a dotted line in the middle. That way, you know, people stay on this side and one on the other. And then there's also, you know, like a track, like the red. What is that? Wait, let's actually do a little lesson right now. What is the material of a track? Red part. Is that what okay. A red track surface, often seen on running tracks, is primarily made of colored rubber granules mixed with polyurethane. Okay, whatever that is. There's like the track material next to it, which the red one is specifically for walkers and runners, whereas like the cement one, that one's a little bit wider and that's for bikers. The cement one goes the whole way. There are periods where the red one will like break off, like they'll combine and then there'll be like an exit or an entrance and so on and so forth. But basically it's this wonderful trail and it's so nice because it's uninterrupted. Like if you walk in the city, you know, you're constantly coming across lights and crossing the street and having to stop. Like this is just its own trail. If I'm not mistaken, the Katy Trail used to be a railroad. I'm pretty sure I looked this up once and I'm going to look it up again. Yes, the Katy Trail, a popular recreational trail in Missouri and Dallas, Texas. Oh, that's right. Missouri also has kind of a similar thing because it was a part of the same railroad. It was the Missouri, Kansas, Texas. And I think that's where KT came from. It's spelled Katy, but like KT Trail, like Kansas, Texas. Anywho, it's amazing. Well, I always joke about the fact that people comment and are like, oh my gosh, you live in Dallas? I'm like, yes, bitch. If you ever walked the Katy Trail, you would know that because I'm on it every single day. And I have been on it every single day since I moved to Dallas, literally every day for the past 6 years. There was a girl who validated me and she said, yes, I see you on the trail every single day. And I said, thank you. But it is kind of weird. Again, going back to like the being perceived and people like knowing who I am. I'm like, oh, that's kind of freaky. But anywho, what else happened this week? I have a brand deal coming up with actually an electrolyte drink. And I forgot to mention this last week. We actually used to get these drinks from Walmart all of the time. When I was a kid, that is what my dad had. We either had Electrolyte or we had Propels. And it's so funny because now as a 28-year-old adult, when I go home, they still buy these drinks. Like at LaDonna and Gordy's, they have Propels. And I'm like, you guys... And I drink them when I go home because they so graciously bought them for me. But I'm like, I don't drink these like often anymore. I do love a good sports drink. And now that I'm like doing this with Electrolyte, I've been having them in the fridge and I love having them. A nice little flavored water, like a nice sweet, that's just my ish. You guys know my sweet treat is never like chocolate or candy. Of course, I love those things. But like on the weekend when Carter's like, do you want to get something? I'm like, let's get a Coke Zero. Like mine is a drink. I love just like a good tasty drink and like Electrolyte, Propel, like the little flavor. Oh, it's so good. I got those Prime ones at one time. That is what's happening. I'm doing this deal and I have to post a photo. Okay. Well, a few days ago, I get all ready and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out into the wild with my tripod and my little clicker and I'm going to go take these photos because I need to do this. They are due actually today. I think the timeline is getting pushed back a little bit, but I needed to have them done and I just wanted to get it done. I think I did it on Monday. Well, Carter gets home from work and I'm still like, I have my makeup on. I still have the same outfit on. It was whatever. But he's like, do you want to go on a walk? And I'm like, yes. And then I told him about taking the photos. I'm like, are these cheesy as hell? And he's like, why don't we take some when we go on a walk? I shit you not. We go. We hit the Katy Trail, but I'm like, we're not taking these photos on the Katy Trail because it's like 6 p.m. on a Monday. It's going to be so busy. It's nice out. I'm not doing that in front of people. Let's go on our little side street and go and take some photos. Well, we go. Carter's like, okay, get in front of this house. Boom, 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 boom. He said, okay, walk down here. Boom, 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 boom. Then we go across this little bridge. We're in front of the water. He's like, oh, this is a perfect spot. Boom, boom, boom. And of course, some of them not good. Right? There's like sun beating down on me. I'm like, babe, did you even look at this before you take it? But there were good ones. So just know when my photo gets posted, which might be this Monday, I don't know. Again, the timeline's getting changed. I want you guys to know that Cutie Carter helped take the photos because I'm not posting the ones I took. But I then was so pissed because I was like, I spent like 2 hours within like getting ready, driving over to a spot, going out in front of like people, which I tried to find a spot that was hidden and taking these photos and they weren't good. I'm like, and Carter took these within like literally 2 seconds. I was pissed. But anyways, it got done. I needed the practice. That was wonderful. Another thing that happened when Carter, I don't think it was this weekend. I think it was last weekend. And I forgot to mention this to you guys. His very best friend, who I know very well now, whom I adore, is single. And we've gone on double dates with him. Well, he has a new friend slash business partner, and him and Carter, they went and did something last weekend. And Carter gets home and he was explaining that I do content to the other guy because his best friend knows, obviously. And that guy was asking if I was tapped into Dallas. That way he could pay me to do like a dating service for him. He's like a single guy. I don't know him. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know. But then, of course, Carter's like actual friend who I know was like, oh my gosh, like I should do this. And I'm like, wait, should I start like a series where like, let's go on double dates and I set you guys up with his friends? Which we don't know this one guy. And like, that's a lot of pressure because I would hate to like set somebody up and then other people be disappointed. There needs to be a way to like weed people out. But anywho, I might be getting some big bucks from Carter's friends to set up like a dating show for them, or like to just set them up with dates. It's not realistic, but this guy actually, he was being real, but like I won't do that. And I wouldn't do that to you guys because what if he's a loser and then I'm setting girls up and they're like, dude, why would you set me up with this loser? I'm not doing that. I'm not getting involved in that. But anywho, I think that's kind of all I have for you guys. Yes. But I have some call-ins. I have some voice recordings. I wonder if I should play it from, let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I have not one, but two call-ins with the voice, and I'm so excited. I didn't listen through them the whole way because I just wanted to have like a raw reaction here. Wait, let me see if I can just play them on my laptop. Oh, I also had only one write-in, but literally this is what it says. Who does the cleanings for your apartment? Because if you don't have anyone, me and my companies wants to offer a partnership. Heart, heart, heart. My email is blank. I would love to talk more with you. This is what I'm saying. I'm just getting a lot more Dallas things. Like people are seeing the video and I had so many DMs from like random companies and like a small business, like nothing that I would be interested in, like a moving service and this, a cleaning service. I'm like, nobody cleans my apartment. Carter cleans our apartment. Anyways, I'm going to delete that. Okay, let me pull up the voice memos.
Okay, my ex-boyfriend and I were together for just over a year. In that time, we went through some really rocky parts. There was a little bit of drinking on his side involved. And then sometime last summer, I emotionally stepped out of the relationship and didn't tell him right away. He found out last September. And then we spent 6 weeks trying to figure out if we could make this work, if he could forgive and forget. Not necessarily forget, but if we could work through it. And then officially broke it off like 6 weeks after he had found out. We went 3 weeks with no contact. He would text me like almost every single weekend when he was drunk during those 3 weeks of no contact. Probably because he was anxious about what I was doing over the weekend. Then Thanksgiving, he showed up at my door because I wasn't feeling well. He had called me and asked what I was doing. I wasn't feeling well. So for around Thanksgiving, probably up until like mid-March, I would say, we texted like almost every single day. We didn't hang out, like we hung out maybe a couple times, but it was very brief, very quick. And then mid-March, I found out that he was actually sleeping with somebody else over the last, 3 weeks of us talking. But he still tried to check in with me and be a part of my life. Probably around like early April, maybe. I asked him to stop checking in on me, to stop, if he wasn't going to be a part of my life in the way that I wanted him to be, then he needed to stop reaching out and that we needed to go no contact. So he was abiding by that for a while, and then he would start to reply to my Instagram stories. Now, mind you, we don't follow each other on Instagram. He's private, I'm public. I didn't know he was watching my Instagram stories until I started getting notifications that he was liking Instagram stories, that, he was messaging me on Instagram, like replying to them, like had posted something about weight loss and he had replied and said, I'm proud of you, etc., etc. So I messaged him again and I said, please don't do that because you know that my heart and my brain are thinking two different things and you're giving me the attention that my heart wants from you. He said he was sorry, blah, 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 and then essentially was no contact, but still, I realized was watching my Instagram stories. So last weekend, I saw him out in my neighborhood. He also so conveniently lives around the corner from me now. I saw him in my neighborhood. He got out of his car, said hello, said I looked good, asked him what he was up to. He asked me what I was up to, and, I was obviously very emotional after that. So I broke no contact this last weekend. I know, shame on me. and I told him that I missed him and that, I've been on a few dates here and there, over the last couple months, and nobody has really lived up to his first date, and just keep thinking about the good things about our relationship. I told him that I missed him, that each time I go on a date, I keep thinking about our first date and how magical it was, blah, 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 blah. I didn't get a response. Then he watched my Instagram stories, and then he liked my last Instagram story. I haven't posted on Instagram for like 4 days now, and I'm usually a pretty consistent poster, but I'm just frustrated and also wondering, like, if they always say, they always come back. And I'm like, is he going to come back? Because the last response I got from him was, I don't want to hold you back from anything. I want you to be happy. And I don't know what the future holds. I'm just taking life a day at a time. Just wondering if he's going to come back, because they say they always come back, or if him coming back in like November after we officially broke up was him coming back, or if I should just move on my merry way. I mean, I obviously have been trying to, but it's been really hard. It's been 4 days with no contact now, so I'm making it. Anyway, let me know if this makes it into your podcast.
First of all, you're so sweet, and thank you so much for calling in. I say move it right along. And here is the thing. Moving on, like, the best way, which, like, I'm not promoting this, it's going to sound like I am, but, like, if you actually want an ex back, the best way to do that is to move on and go no contact. Like, they will realize your, like, absence, because if you're constantly communicating, like, he knows that you're right there. Like, he will then respond whenever he feels that it's okay. But, like, this overall just sounds not like really badly toxic, but like you dated for about a year and then you broke up, and then there was the talking, and then he's sleeping with other people, and this, like, I think a clean break is just what you need anyways. In my personal professional opinion, I think you just need to keep it moving. Like, you'll stay in this toxic cycle forever, if you will. Like, what about this? And you're only looking back on the good things. Like, this is just what breakups are. Like, this is exactly what happens. Everything that you've said is something that I've been through, that my friends have been through, that everybody listening has been through. And especially with today's, like, day and age, it's like, he's liking my Instagram stories. Yeah, because he just wants you to know that he's there, even though he doesn't follow you, which is weird, but it's like, he's literally just liking an Instagram story. Like, if you didn't have Instagram, what would that mean? Nothing. And it does mean nothing. Like, it's just him sticking around and just, like, making sure, I'm still here, even though he didn't respond to your text, even though he's not reaching out, even though he doesn't want to see you, because if he wanted to see you, he would. Like, I don't see anything good coming from this right now. I think the best case scenario is moving on. Just go no contact. I would block him on Instagram. I know a lot of people think that's, like, harsh, but it's like, quit. Here's the thing. We have to be the ones to cut man off. Like, if you are just, like, sitting there hoping that he'll stop liking your Instagram stories, it's like, oh my gosh, he's still liking my Instagram stories. You're low-key allowing that, right? Like, if you're not blocking and making sure that it's not happening, you're allowing it, especially if it's somebody who does it again and again. Just block him, and therefore it's a clean break. Like, do not text, do not have on socials, do not look up the things, just keep it moving. That is my professional and personal opinion and what I think you should do. Okay, we have another one. And I briefly spoke to this girl. She actually commented on a TikTok and was like, oh my gosh, I love you. I just left a voice memo. Like, please go listen. So I pulled it up and I listened to, like, maybe the first, like, 30 seconds. And then I messaged her on Instagram. I'm like, I'm obsessed with you. I have no idea what this is going to entail. So let's listen.
Hey, Brenna. Hey, Queen. Okay, so what's up? My name is Jackie. I literally love you, Queen. Like, you are my favorite person ever to listen to. Like, I swear to God, every time I'm in a bad mood or I'm just like, fuck, I hate life, I'm like, let me put on Brenna's podcast. Or anytime I'm feeling like a delusional piece of shit, I'm like, you know what, I need, what would Brenna do? What would Brenna say? Anyways, sorry, I'm being a yaposaurus right now. I have a crazy dilemma for you, and I would love some advice because I feel like an asshole. So, am I the asshole for completely cutting off a guy friend who has been nothing but sweet and kind of? So, to start, I'm 20 and this guy is also 20, I believe. Yeah, no, he just turned 20. So we're the same age, and a little bit of backstory. I have been single for about 8 months now, and he recently broke up with his girlfriend of a year and a half. And I have known this guy since we were little, in kindergarten or like preschool. We went to preschool together. We went our separate ways. You know, I hadn't talked to him, but my mom and his mom were like family friends, but we still weren't in contact when we were younger. And then one day, a few years ago in the gym, when we were both still in high school, to put it in perspective, I'm in college now. One day I approached him at the gym and I said, hey, like, you're David, right? Blah, blah, blah. That's his name. And he and I started talking and going on dates, and he was very sweet, very nice. But for some reason, there was something in me that just I feel like an idiot saying like the spark, but like something just wasn't working for us. I'm not really sure what that was, but you know, we tried to talk, and this was the summer before my senior year of high school, which was in 2022. So 2022 is the summer before my senior year of high school, because I graduated from high school in 2023. So we talked, and I cut it off at the end of the summer, and I told him, you know, you're an amazing person, you're an amazing guy, but it just is not working out. And I told him, you know, I care about you, I do still want to be friends, because we didn't do anything. Like, we kissed once, but that was it, and we remained as friends. He was one of my guy friends that I could ask for advice. He was not weird, not creepy, not anything. Then it happened again after I broke up with a boyfriend that I had in high school in 2023. We connected again, but not in like a romantic way. It was more so just like he was supporting me through a breakup way as a friend. And then he wanted to pursue things again, and I told him no. So this was back in 2023. So fast forward to now, obviously it's 2025. In January/December, I was broken up with, and I was seriously heartbroken over a guy that anyways, it doesn't really matter. He was kind of a jackass, but this guy, David, I knew that he was also having problems with his girlfriend, because he had talked to me about how he just didn't find her fulfilling in life, and he was telling me, he just was like, I just don't know if she's the one, like, I'm having doubts, which is crazy because the correlation, this is exactly what my ex was telling me, and this is what David is telling me about his girlfriend. So, like, I was living it on one end, and then I was hearing about it on the other, if that makes sense. Like, it's fine, it's kind of fucking crazy, but anyways, so we talk in January, and then one night, you know, I'm working through my breakup, and he's working through his relationship. He calls me, and he's like, I don't love her, I never loved her, I only love you, you haven't left my mind, like, I just used her to distract me, like, you've always been the one. Out of nowhere, Brenna, literally out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, this is fucking insane. All right, like, this is crazy. So I was like, and then he was pressuring me to tell him what I felt. And in the past, like, over the past 2 years, I was kind of like, you know, he was an amazing guy, and I always kind of wondered why, like, it didn't work out for us, but it was never I'm going to reach out, we're going to reconnect moment. It was like, if it happens, it happens, but I'm not going to go out of my way to force it. And he was forcing me to tell him how I felt, and I was like, I feel really fucking bad for your girlfriend, because you're being a jackass right now. You still are dating her, and 2 months ago, you just told me, oh, you love her, you're planning a life with her, you want to get married, like, and then all of a sudden you're calling me, telling me that was all facade. Like, it was fucking crazy, and I hung up the phone, and I gave up on that. And then a week later, he calls me, and he's like, you know, we broke up, I still, like, stand by what I said, like, she's not you, like, I never thought about her the way I thought about you, like, we didn't even date, and I have stronger feelings. Like, he was like, there's no doubt in my mind, I know you're the one, blah, blah, blah. And I am very similar to you on this, but I don't believe in the whole bullshit of, like, right person, wrong time. I just think it's shit. Like, I don't believe in it at fucking all. I just think it's delusional, and I don't know. I don't believe in it. I also don't believe in, like, the one. I think that there can be, like, there is a person for someone, but I don't like how people like overhype it and like the one. Anyway, sorry, I keep fucking yapping. Back to the stories.
Wait. There have been multiple times where I'm dying here, but you guys can't hear me. I love you and I'm dead. This is amazing. And the thing about this podcast is like, you guys know me so well. Like you all know my thoughts on that. Like, yes, of course, like Carter is the best partner for me, but do I believe in the one? No, like anybody can be the one. And like, totally agree. Wait, let me catch up with my thoughts. Yeah, I hate that he's like, I had these feelings for you, so on and so forth. Dude, you've been in a relationship this whole time. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And also to put that on you and then be like, what are your feelings? Oh, yeah, that's scary.
So he believes in all that shit and he's fucking delusional. So then, fast forward to February, he calls me and he's like, hey, I go to, and this guy goes to college because I'm, I don't know if you're going to include this, but lol. But anyway, so he calls me and he's like, hey, I need a place to stay. Can you let your roommate know that I'm going to spend the night? No, hey, can I spend the night? No, hey, this and that. And it was on Valentine's Day. And me and my ex's anniversary, me and my ex's anniversary was on Valentine's Day. And I had already had plans on Valentine's Day with my girlfriends. And then he wanted me to cancel those plans so he could spend the night at my house or at my apartment in Raleigh. And I told him, fuck no. I was like, no, like, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, that's not happening. So, he was like, where do you want to go from here? And I told him, what the hell? I was like, we can text a little bit here and there. I was like, I'm not promising you anything. Like, I don't want this to be forced. Like, I'm still working through my breakup. You're still working through yours. But I don't mind texting and seeing where things go. Well, boy, was that the wrong fucking decision, Brenna. I have never regretted something more than saying that to him. This man is fucking crazy because, so that was in February. I told him that at the end of February. Well, March was our college spring break, and I got invited spontaneously to go on a beach trip with a few of my friends, and their friends, their guy friends, and their boyfriends, which, like, it was just a whole big mix of people. Some that I knew, some that I didn't, but I was really excited to, meet new people. Like, it was supposed to be a fun trip, okay? But I told David that I was going to come home and, I'd see him. But when I say see him, I meant, like, maybe go to lunch one day. Or, like, maybe we used to go to the gym together when we were home. And I'd be like, yeah, maybe we'll go to the gym once or we'll get lunch, very, like, casual. Like, we are not talking, we are not serious, we are not anything. I never agreed to anything like that. And, so we start texting, and he starts being extremely pushy, and he's pushing me to tell him how I feel. And he's like, I don't understand why you gave your exes a chance, and you won't give me one. Like, he says shit like that. He'll be like, why'd you stay with them for so long if they treated you so shitty? And he just, like, always, like, he hypes himself up. Like, first of all, man rated himself. Ick. He rated himself a 9 out of 10. I was like, no. We're not doing that. And I told him,
This is good. I hope everybody else is enjoying this. I'm like lost in the sauce. I'm like, yeah, I'm dead. Like, this is so me. I so badly wish, I think about this all the time, and this is going to be really fucked up to say out loud, but like, I so badly wish I could have documented more dates and more of my thoughts on dates and men and experienced more. Obviously, I'm so glad and so thankful I met Carter and he is my forever person. Amazing. Yes. But do I wish for content's sake that I could have had more dates in there, or that I would have filmed in 2021 when I was single? Yes, I so badly wish, because this is killing me, and this is exactly like the updates I wanted to give you. Okay, so FYI to everybody who is listening, please leave your call in, because I'm loving this. Are you guys loving this? Anyways, let's keep going.
Instead of coming home, I'm gonna go to this Florida trip. And I could tell he was irritated, because he was like, well, why aren't, like, that time was supposed to be for us, like, and I'm like, babe, I'm not even dating you. I'm not even talking to you. I told you texting and casual, not we're gonna get married tomorrow. And I told him, I'll still be home for a few days. Maybe we can get lunch. And so I go to this Florida trip. He starts texting me about my TikTok reposts and about how I repost stuff about cowboys and how this and that, because my type is like countrymen, just because like that's where I grew up, that's my type. And he's so mad. He's like, I don't understand why you repost stuff about cowboys. Like, I'm not a cowboy. Like, I'm a gym rat. And then he was saying stuff like, he was like, why did you like this guy from high school's Instagram? I was like, he's talking about this instance, this right here. Oh my fucking God, Brenna. I literally wanted to shoot him. I liked this guy's Instagram post who has a girlfriend, and it is the first slide, okay? And it doesn't matter. Why are you stalking what I like on Instagram? It's just weird. Like, he'll stalk my TikTok repost. He stalks what I like on Instagram Reels. He stalks what I like on Instagram. It's weird. After 2 weeks of talking. But I wouldn't even consider it romantic talking, just texting. And I made that very clear. And anyway, so he's texting me over, and also, he's like, you need a real man in your life. Like, why won't you give me a chance? Like, every 5 seconds he says that. So I'm in Florida. I'm trying to fucking relax. And this man, oh my God. Sorry, I've been yapping for way too long. Like, I know you're probably going to cut this out or not listen to it. But anyway, so he is texting me constantly when I'm in Florida in March. And he's like, on my spring break trip with my friends, he's like, I don't understand why you're not texting me back fast. And I'm like, I'm fucking relaxing, and you're pissing me off because you're texting me about what I like and what I do and this and that and this, that, the other, and it's annoying. And then he was like, okay, so I have a plan. We'll hang out Friday, Saturday, and then Saturday night I'll come over. And I was like, no. I told him, I was like, no, like I told him, I'm not agreeing to any plans until I know what my family's plans are, because they come first, and I haven't seen them in a few months, and I want to see them first because I was in Florida and I live in Virginia, and I was going to go home, at the end of the week for the rest of my spring break because I go to school in North Carolina anyways. But I wanted to go home for a few days, and obviously I have family, and I want to see my mom, my dad, like my brother, and they come before this jackass. So I'm not really sure. Like, he's so entitled. Like, he thinks that because he sent me $50 on this trip, never asked for it, didn't even say anything about money, just randomly did it unprecedented, and he thinks that because he does stuff like that, like, he can buy my attention. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, oh, well, I sent you $50, so now you're gonna go out to eat with me 5 times, or now you're gonna hang out with me every.
Moral of the story, sorry, I don't know if I should be like speaking in here, if everybody's liking just listening, or if I should be giving my 2 cents every second. This guy is very needy, and that is just the reality, especially for a situation like, it's not even your boyfriend. Like, I could never date somebody like this, even if I had attraction. Like, he clearly just has insecurities. And I mean, you guys are 20 years old. I need to also remember that I was insecure at 20 years old, but like I'm a gym rat and you're like, you always like, also quit look like, oh, and I get it, kind of, but it's also like, y'all aren't dating. Y'all are not dating. And like, he's just not getting it. Therefore, like, you should have cut him off a long time ago if this is how he was acting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm living for it and I'm absolutely dead and loving the story. But like, yeah, that was the biggest mistake of your life, telling him that like, y'all can text and be casual, because what the fuck is this guy?
I haven't heard from my family. And he's like, well, what about us? Like, we're supposed to be spending time together. This is time for us, blah, 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 blah. Like, never shuts the fuck up. And I'm like, David, I'm not agreeing to anything. And I was like, no, also, like, I'm not comfortable with you coming over to my house. And he was like, why? What are you doing? And I was like, oh, I have dinner with my family Saturday night. He's like, okay, well, I'll come over after. And I was like, I am seriously about to punch you in the fucking face. I told you no. I told you I'm uncomfortable. I told you I'm busy, and you still push. And he told me, he was like, I don't understand why you act like this. And I'm like, it's because you are the most, like, there's a difference between going after what you want and being so fucking pushy that you're pushing past my boundaries. Like, you're disrespecting me because you're not listening to what I want. Like, it's all about him, what he needs, what he wants, his time, and it's not about what I need and what I want. So we finally agreed. I explained to him, I was like, listen, this is not the move. I need you to calm down. And I tried to tell him in a nice way, like, please stop acting like this, or this is not, because I had already, like, been annoyed. Like, it was almost to the point where I was like, I've got to cut this off. Then I come home and I agree to get lunch with him. This man, oh my God. We go out to lunch once. He sits in the car and he gives me a fucking binder, Brenna. A fucking binder. And you're probably like, what the fuck? What is in this binder? This man took a binder, 100 pages, wrote in this binder 10,000 times, handwritten, you are fulfilling and you are enough in life. He spent 12 hours on this fucking handwritten binder. I'm not even joking. I literally am not even joking. The way I want to insert a picture of the binder because it is batshit crazy. Like, Brenna, this is crazy. Ugh.
I feel like this is me when I was 20. Like, this is giving me flashbacks. Like, I feel like this would be my exact reaction. Like I already said, he's just doing too much for like, and this is like, it can get scary. This guy is like, sounds pretty harmless from what you said, but like, well, I say that because you have like your bearings about you, but this happens to women. Like, a man will, he sends $50 that you didn't ask for, but then expects, it's similar to like when you go on a first date and he buys dinner and then he expects to like come to your house after. It's like, ew, like that character is just disgusting. Like, I don't owe you anything, dude. Oh my God, this is like actually driving me insane.
And he hands me and I'm looking through it and in my head, I'm like, this guy is fucking insane and needs to be put in a psych ward. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is stalker. He took yearning for someone to the absolute max. Like, he said, like, yearning for a woman. No, this woman is gonna be like, no, it's weird. So anyway, he hands me the binder, and then he hits me with the, are we gonna be exclusive? And I was like, no, we're not gonna be exclusive. And then he starts crying, and he's like, well, I've had so many people reach out, and I told them no because of you. I'm like, okay, well, that's your fault. I never said you had to say no, and that's on you. He's like, oh, so what'd you do in Florida then? And he's accusing me of being a hoe now because I told him I didn't want to be exclusive with him. And he's guilt tripping me. And he's like, my ex, the one he recently broke up with, the one that he said was unfulfilling, the one that he said I don't ever see myself marrying or being with ever again, said, he was like, yeah, well, she's been asking me to spend the night. And I'm like, okay, well, go spend the night with him. Like, don't, and I literally said, I was like, don't throw this in my face. Like, don't guilt trip me. Like, that's not what we're doing here. You want me to feel bad? I don't give a shit what you do. Notice how I literally could not give two fucks what you're doing. And it is so blatantly obvious that I'm not into him, but he's not taking the hint. So, we don't talk for, like, we try and, like, text back and forth a little bit after this, like, whole, like, batshit crazy incident with the binder. And I'm telling all my family and friends about it, and they're like, fuck this dude. Like, he's creepy, he's weird. Well, I thought it was over. And then we get home for summer break, and he is sending me paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. He is spamming my phone. He is acting crazy again. He is not relaxed. He's not chill. He's like, I want to see you. I want to see you. I need to see you. I need to see you. And I'm like, David, I'm fucking busy. Please stop. And, like, I have a lot going on in my life. Like, my parents are divorced. I take care of my little brother whenever I'm home because my parents are just, like, my relationship is very rocky. And I just, it's true. Like, I do have a lot going on, but it's also, like, if I wanted to make the time to see him, I would. And I made the time to see him once, and I thought that was enough. I guess not. He's very demanding and very much, like, it's my, like, you need to see me, like, my time. And also, he has no other hobbies besides stalking me and being a creep. So, of course, he has, like, unlimited time to do all of this. So, I text him a few weeks ago. Fast forward, this is May now. Fast forward to now, when we've been home for about a month now. I texted him, I care about you a lot, but I never, ever, ever see this going anywhere else but romantic. Or I never see this going anywhere else but platonic. I do not want anything romantic ever again with you. And I literally said that in a message. And I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, I am sorry to cancel on you. Because he was like, it's not fair that you're always canceling on me. Like, and I agreed. I was like, you're right. Like, it's not fair. But it's really hard when he basically traps and forces me into hanging out with him when you can tell that, like, I'm busy or I have stuff to do. Like, he'll find ways around it. He'll find ways to trap me. Be like, oh, well, you need to do this. Or I need this. Or, like, he's very manipulative to the point where it's like, I feel trapped and I feel like I literally have to say yes. Like, there is no option. So, yeah, that's why I cancel. But I also just don't want to see him. Hence why he's crazy and controlling, and it's gone the past. It's like, I get it, like some guys care about the safety issue or like being protective or like I guess a little bit of healthy jealousy, but I don't fuck with that. I don't like clingy men. I need space, and not like space but like healthy space, especially like when we're first dating. Like, I don't want to be all up in your business, like, and I don't want somebody all up my ass. Like, I don't like that. I don't want to feel suffocated, and he suffocates me. So he calls me 5 times after I text him this long paragraph. I had just got done with babysitting for 10 hours. Mind you, I work like almost every single day of the week. So that's another thing that I deal with that he doesn't understand, because he works at Staples for like 3 days a week for like 4 hours. I'm like, what fucking ever. And he called me like, I'm coming over to your house at 4:30. And you see what I'm saying? Like, when he's so fucking demanding, and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to say to that, you know? So he comes over and he's crying and he's telling me, you're making a mistake. You're going to regret this. I know I'm the one for you. I've never been so sure about anything in my life. And I'm like, no, like, this feels right. Like, I feel like this is the right decision for me. I feel like I need to do this for my own good, for my own sake. Like, this is what I need to do. And I told him that. I was like, I feel like I'm making the right decision here. And he kept trying to say, like, he kept trying to delay the conversation, and you could tell I wanted him to leave. Like, I'm a very expressive person. Like, you could tell from my face if I'm into a conversation or if I am into you and if I'm enjoying it. You could very clearly tell, and even my mom could tell. Like, she said that because she walked in on our conversation because she was about to make dinner. And I was like, oh, okay, well, like, my mom's about to make dinner. And he was like, oh, okay, well, then we're going upstairs. And I like I said, like, I get it. Like, your simple solution should just be like, okay, well, kick him the fuck out. Well, it's a little hard when he acts like this. So then we go upstairs, and he's like, come here. Like, he's laying on my bed. He's like, come here. And I'm like, ugh. Like, he wants to fucking cuddle! After I've told him, no, I don't want a relationship, don't want romantic, don't want anything. He wants to cuddle, and he's like, you don't like physical touch, do you? I'm like, actually, I love physical touch. I just hate it from you. I was like, I don't like physical touch from you. I don't crave physical touch from you. And I was like, I think that's a thing. And I told him, I was like, on paper, you know, you are like someone that I would generally like be interested in. But I was like, it's just the pushiness, the clinginess, the overbearing that I physically cannot deal with. So then he wants to cuddle. He's all over me. I'm telling him, like, no, like, please stop. Like, so he stops and he starts, like, he's like, I cannot watch you give the world to another man. The world I've always wanted. He's like that cringy audio that you hear on TikTok, which is like the one that's like, good morning, sunshine. The earth shines today. He's like that one. He does that shit. Which I'm like, what the fuck? That's crazy. He also told me one time, he was like, I've searched heaven and earth to find you. I'm like, please shut the actual fuck up, bitch, please. Like, for the love of God, please stop talking. And so he makes one-liners like that and be like, this is fate, this is destiny. Like, he told me, this is how delusional he is. He told me he'd rather be friends than date anyone else and have the healthiest, happiest relationship. Like, it's an unhealthy obsession that he has. Like, I am genuinely scared. I feel like he's gonna come to my house and murder me. That's a joke, but also, like, not really. He told me he'd rather be friends than date anybody else and have a healthy, happy relationship with anyone else, because he is no doubt in his mind that I am the one and no one else was handcrafted by God for him. And I'm religious, but he, like, believes in fate, like, the one, like, he's like, you're the one. We have not even dated, Brenna. We have not even dated. And he's like, I just want you to know that I love you and I will always be here. I will always love you. And, you know, if you change your mind, which I know you will, he was like, you know in your heart you're making a mistake, but, and then I was like, no, like, I don't think so. And then, like, I tried to get him to leave because I was like, my mom said dinner's ready. And he was like, okay, well, go eat dinner and then I'll be up here. And I was like, no, like, I have stuff to do, like, no. And, like, I thought he would get the hint, you know, because I'm standing up and I'm, like, at the door waiting for him to leave my room. And he's like, oh, what? I'm going to run the errands with you. Like, what do you have to do after this? And I was like, no, like, I have to go to CVS. He was like, oh, come with. But you see what I'm saying here? Like, it's just like he cannot take a hint. Like, he is so pushy, so pushy that it turns me off. And that's the thing. Like, at the beginning, I was actually kind of hopeful because I was like, if he gets off my dick and he actually lets me breathe and not suffocate me and not be pushy and not be overbearing, not be jealous and weird and shit like this, then maybe I would have liked him. But it's just never going to work out because he cannot control himself. And I know some girls really like this. Like, some girls like this overprotective, overbearing behavior, and he would give the world to a girl like that. But that is not me. Like, and I just know for a fact that I made the right decision. But he gaslights me and manipulates me so hard that when I'm sitting right next to him, it's very hard to stay strong. And I'm glad that I was able to do that. But like, now that has happened like a few weeks ago, I'm very much clear-headed and I know for a fact I made the right decision. So, after all that fucking yapping, I'm so sorry. I had to give all the details, you know, like, I needed you guys to understand the backstory, especially just because, like, there was a lot to cover. Overall, am I the asshole for completely cutting him out of my life and not ever talking to him again? Let me know. Okay. Love you, Greta.
That was incredible. I'm curious if I'm gonna have to cut it down. Like, it was long, but I do feel like the details were necessary. We'll see when I'm editing. No, you're not the asshole, and you know that. And I totally get what you're saying, though. And there's so many things that are so relatable. Like, just like, it's hard as a woman. I've been around pushy guys or guys that don't get the hint, and it's hard to be straightforward. It's hard because it feels rude. Like, again, women are conditioned to be nice and not hurt feelings and like make sure that, you know, everybody feels taken care of. And him coming up with solutions that you're like, leave my house. You're gonna stay up here while I'm eating with my mom? No. But it's like, the men that are like that, that's like a real issue. And like, when does that end? Like, that turns into, in my opinion, physical abuse. Like, that down the road. Because like, if he can't take no now, like verbally, because I feel like there are physical men, like physically abusive, sorry, not to like take it there, that are that way from the get-go, but like, this is what that turns into. I feel like, oh yeah, that's scary. No, you're not the asshole. I can't believe you dealt with it for that long. Oh, he sounds awful. And the cringe, like, I'm the guy for you. You're the love of my life. The fact that he also was just in a relationship, and I'm sure saying the same, like, it's just, he clearly just wants a girlfriend and wants you to be that. But like, it's so inorganic the way that he's like going about it. Obviously, he's just like pressuring you into anything. He's just pressuring you into everything. Absolutely not. No. And that is a scary man. And like, cut him off and never speak to him again. Like, and I understand what you were saying, because in some ways, but in different ways, like when we meet a guy and it's like, oh my gosh, but he's like kind, like when it's good, it's like, he's nice. And like, I, you know, maybe I'm attracted to him. Like, he's not ugly and this and that, but it's like, but it's like, these things make up who he is. The fact that he's pushy, he can't hear no, he can't take a fucking hint. Like, that is probably the most unattractive quality in a man. Like, a man who has no fucking awareness and can't take a hint. Like, I cannot, like, even the slightest things, I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, men, it's a type of man. Oh my gosh, you guys, speaking of, I'm not sure if I've told this story, but this is exactly what it reminds me of. There was a guy at Equinox, and he was not attractive, and he was not cute, and he was weird. And he would come up to the front desk, and he would corner me, and he would try and talk to me, and like, he wouldn't leave. And again, in this, I was working, I was an employee, so I was like polite, but I was like very short. I was like, I'm not trying to sit here and chit chat. And it was like very clear that I was not into him. And like, I would always have somebody with me and they would see it firsthand. Typically this girl, Destiny, who I worked with. Well, like a month later, I got called back by my manager, right? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I forgot this story. We updated our system at Equinox and we had to take everybody's photo. And basically we had to take the photo because it needed to be attached to their account. But on the app, the photo was being shown on the app and therefore everybody was seeing their photo. And we were just like taking them with a webcam, not really caring. Like we just had to get this done. So like there was a week of time when everybody came in, we just took a quick photo. But it was like a week later that they got posted on the app. And a lot of people came up and were like, I hate this fucking photo. I'm like, nobody really sees it. Like on our screen, it's tiny, but like the system just needed it, whatever. Every once in a while, I would retake somebody's if they really asked. But I'm like, okay, first, who gives a fuck? Like you just check in. It's not that big of a deal. You're not looking at it, whatever. Well, this guy who would try and talk to me came up and he was like fishing for me to tell him that he looked good in this photo. He's like, oh, can I like redo this? And he was so fucking weird. And I was like, I was like, no, like, it's fine. And he's like, don't I look ugly? And I'm like, no, like, and he kept fishing. I was like, it's fine. And then I don't know if I ended up taking it or not, but it was just so uncomfortable. And it was like, clearly that's what he wanted me to say. I shit you not. I show up to work like the next day or like within the next few days. And there was the Destiny who I worked with, but then there was a manager Destiny, and the manager Destiny, she was an older woman. She like called me back and she's like, Brenna, can I talk to you about something? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And I don't know when like Equinox members got prompted, but they could like leave reviews at certain times, or maybe they just went on at any time within the app. So it wasn't like on Google or anything. It was like in the system. She's like, we had a bad review about you and I just want to like talk about it. And first of all, like, what the fuck? Because I have never, like, I am a customer service bitch. I am never rude to anyone, like ever, especially like it's my workplace. And like, I check people in. I've never, ever, 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 ever. So I'm like, first of all, what the fuck? Well, then she pulls it up and it didn't say his name, right? Because obviously protocol, she can't say, but it says like, you gave this guy a hard time. This guy wrote in, the guy who would always try and flirt with me. He wrote in that I was rude to him and I wouldn't take his photo and so on and so forth. And I look at her and I'm like, holy fuck, like no way. I'm like, you don't need to tell me his name, but is his name this? And she goes, yes. And like, she thought it was like legit. And first of all, I'm like, you know me. I would never. And she knew. She was like, this is really uncommon. But like, obviously Equinox was so fucking strict about what they, if somebody left a bad review, they took it like for Bible. I'm like, please go get the other Destiny and talk to her. I'm like, I can explain to you right now what happened. And then I'll have Destiny. You can keep us separate. Ask her. And they did that. And word for word, we both told her like that guy was just fishing for a compliment and he flirts with me every fucking week and never gets the hint. Well, guess who comes walking in that same day? And I'm like, oh, now I'm going to be mean. And like, he wouldn't look at me. He went to Destiny and I think I walked away, but I'm like, what the? And he got so weird every time he came in because there was this long walkway that they would have to walk. And it's like, that was like taken to the extreme. Like you left a bad review because you were fishing. Like that type of man to me, it's like, you're not even a man. Like what the fuck is wrong with you? But like that, like he would never get the hint. And there were other guys at the gym that would sit up there and talk to me and like I was kind, but it's like I am working, like I can't leave, so I have to talk to you. Like the fact that men couldn't see that and they think I'd just like be sitting there talking to them, it's like clearly I'm being short. I don't want to talk to you. Like quit pushing yourself on me. Like that characteristic in a man is scary in my opinion and like so not okay. Oh my gosh. Anyways, you're not the asshole queen and I love you. And thank you so much for the story. I loved that. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. Please let me know. I'm going to leave it here. I apologize if the first half of the podcast was like, I feel like I was all over the place and like not my normal, uppity self. I feel like the fact that I was up at 4:30 and now have consumed like, a lot of caffeine, it's kind of like making me crash. Anywho, you guys always understand. You guys are the best. I hope you have the best weekend and I will see you Monday, but more importantly, I'll see you Friday because those are my favorite episodes. Okay, bye.